In this video, you're going to learn how to be happy with 3 lessons from our favorite furry friends, dogs. So sit back, relax, and let your mind roar. Dogs have it pretty good in that they're one of the few animals that doesn't have to work, gets free board, and even gets its own poop picked up. Not a bad gig. So with record levels of unhappiness being reached in America in 2018, what can we learn from dogs and incorporate it in our own lives to be happy? Let's see. The first lesson dogs can teach us is gratitude and to be grateful. Now this is definitely easier said than done, especially if you're dealing with a nasty customer, a bad boss, or you're just having a crappy day. This isn't our fault. This is because it's hardwired in our biology to actually be more convalescent or more aware of the bad things of our lives. That is basically from the hunter-gatherer instinct from thousands of years ago, where we're programmed to detect threats. We still have the same instinct today, but it's not so useful when this same instinct sparks up in us when our boss yells at us or a customer yells at us and we basically shut down. So what we need to do is reprogram ourselves to be grateful and to basically shun aside this whole fight or flight instinct. So one way that gratitude is so useful to us is that it gives us perspective. So say you're having a crappy day and you hate your job. Well, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people out there that don't have a job. So that perspective, at least as crappy as your job might be today, helps you know that there are people out there struggling who don't have a job and wish they had a job. Little things like that, little moments of gratitude where you can just take time, take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and see and place your gratitude into perspective. This is something dogs do extremely well, in that they're grateful for even the smallest things, the next meal, the next walk, the next treat. Anything big or small they're grateful for, and that's why, and a big part of the reason why they're such happy creatures. Lesson number 2 that dogs can teach us is to listen. Dogs are the world's best listeners. How nice is it to come home after a crappy day at work and you come in and you don't have someone yelling, shouting, screaming, or just being mean to you. Dogs just sit there and listen. They're the world's best listeners. Us, on the other hand, we have gotten terrible at listening, and a big part of this is thanks to the invention of the smartphone, where there is basically zero time left for us to willingly listen to ourselves. And this is understandable. It's a lot easier to distract ourselves with Reddit, Instagram, binging through Netflix than to actually sit down, take time to yourself and listen to yourself internally, what is going on with you on the inside. And that's a scary thing to do, because most of us in reality, as I said earlier, we're not truly happy with certain aspects of our lives, especially job-wise. A lot of us aren't. So it's understandable that we get a bit scared to do that. But it's a lot easier to deal with that uncomfortableness, that awkwardness, that fear, that anxiety of figuring out what it is you truly want on the inside and what you want from life, than coasting through life, living according to what other people think, not listening to yourself, and you end up on a nursing home bed in your 80s and you're like, crap, it is too late to do what I really wanted to do. And this is well recorded as the number 1 regret of the dying, that they wish they'd lived a life according to what they wanted instead of what other people wanted. So a quick way to start off doing this today that you can do, and it doesn't have to be anything gung-ho right away, would be to just take 3 minutes a day, morning or at night. I do mine in the morning. I use a journaling app called Day One, where just literally go and start vomiting words out onto the page. It doesn't have to be a structure, just write what's going on with you internally, and you do this consistently and you start to figure out what it is you want on the inside. And when you do that, you can start to begin looking for true happiness like our doggy friends have. The third lesson that dogs can teach us is to love ourselves. Dogs just love us for who we are. They don't care if we're 10 pounds or 500 pounds, if we have $100 or $1 million in our bank account. They just love us for who we are, and we can really take a leaf out of that into really love ourselves, where most of us these days we struggle with anxiety, depression, self-loathing, and that's not our fault. That we live in a society where Tons and tons of companies make so much money off of us and not loving ourselves. Think healthcare, beauty, weight loss products, where everything is geared around you're never good enough, you can always be better, which is true, but at a certain stage you have to love yourself because you are who you are and you have to love yourself for that. So one way you can go about doing this is through positive affirmation statements. Now this can feel a bit goofy and a bit weird at first, where you essentially in the morning, one way to actually buttress this effort is if you go in and buy those positive affirmation tablets or pieces of wood that you can just sprinkle around, like I'm amazing, I'm brilliant, I'm wonderful. And you do feel a bit weird saying them at first, and it takes a bit of getting used to, but after a while you will start to believe it if you say it enough and repeat it. And when you're feeling down or feeling crappy, you can reinforce this, and if you want, back it up. Say, I'm amazing because I opened the door for 3 people today. I'm amazing because I gave money to my friend who needed help. Anything like that, anything small, big, in between. The word because becomes very powerful if you say, I am brilliant because I helped my friend get through a tough time. You give some credence to the effort and it gives some weight to it in your mind. So love yourself. Go out and truly love yourself, and it'll make you feel a lot happier and will be almost on a par with dogs. So there you have it, 3 lessons from dogs that we can incorporate into our lives today to make us happier. Please let me know if there's anything that your dog does that makes you particularly happy that I haven't mentioned. And if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and let your mind roar. Peace.